You're tuned into the stellar award-winning internet radio station.
You're at the right place at the right time.
Yes Lord Radio.
Hold up. Wait just a minute. It's Roz on your radio.
Keep it locked right here.
Showcase, fellowship, inspire. Showcase.
Hey, it's Roz on the radio.
Showcase, fellowship, inspire.
Yes, Lord Radio. Now it's time for another Yes, Lord Radio exclusive.
Hey, everybody, it's Roz on the radio, and you're listening to another YLR exclusive. My guest today is Israel Houghton, who's sharing his latest single with New Breed from the album Jesus at the Center. Israel, thanks so much for joining us today.
It is my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Great. Now, share with us briefly about the Israel Houghton and New Breed movement.
Yeah, we've been together for 12 years. We celebrated earlier this year a commemorative decade, the first decade of our songs. We did a double CD release of that. And,
wonderful.
And it's amazing to, have a vision that long ago and 12 years later the group is still together. We're still family. We still love each other. And I appreciate you calling it a movement because it's not about being a music team or a music group or anything.
Yes.
It really is about spurring the New Breed ideal all over the world and building a movement out of it. So that's what we've been attempting to do.
Tell us, what is the New Breed ideal?
Really, it's very simple. Strength is for service, not status. So early on, we decided we weren't going to just try and be another group, trying to apprehend the American dream, but that we were going to use whatever platform God gave us to make a difference in the lives of people all over the world, and not just to make a difference, but to make the difference.
Wow.
And that's what we've really committed to doing as a movement.
Wow, that's great. Let's talk a little about the CD project. First of all, I'm captivated by the titles of your projects, but this being Jesus at the Center. Just as your previous album, Love God, Love People, it's not just a title, but it's also a commandment for people to do something. And so the same thing with Jesus at the Center. So tell us about some of the inspiration behind this new project and the overarching message of Jesus at the Center.
Yeah, very simply, we deliberately approached this to be a non-pronoun gospel. I think a lot of times we write songs that take Jesus out of it. We all kind of internally know what we're singing about, but maybe it's not as offensive to people outside the walls of church. And for us, it's like Jesus is the only reason I'm doing what I'm doing. So it made no sense. It made no sense to not have his name, out front and central to everything we're doing. And so, the thought is this, we all sort of make our plans and, we say, okay, I want Jesus to be first in my life. But the truth is he's first and last. He's not just the biggest piece of the pie. He's the whole filling. And so it's not just him and then the rest of the things we want to do or need to do. It's at the center of everything we are and everything that we do. And that's what really spurred this whole project. And when we started putting songs together and making sure that they fit the criteria of what we were going for. And that was that every song was going to ultimately be about Jesus.
Okay, wonderful. So tell us about some of the songs on this project.
Well, certainly the title track is something special. We did a kind of a fun song that's English and Spanish, and it's just a big kind of danceable party song called Te Amo. Our good friend T-Bone joined us on that one, and we did kind of a go-go joint. We kept pretty urban on this one, and but I tell you that, but it's a double CD, so there's something literally for everybody on it. But a song called Turning Back. The opening cut would probably remind people a lot of Something Between You Or Good, and again I say Rejoice, very typical sound that New Breed's been known for, and that's called Jesus the Same. And but I would say I love every song on this record, and truthfully, I don't know if I've been able to say that.
Oh, wow.
I present with 100% everything that I put out, but there's something very, very special about this project.
Tell us about production-wise. Who did you collaborate with on the project?
Well, Aaron Lindsay and I worked together on every project for the last 12 years, and this was no exception. And then we brought in some people to join in. Of course, Jason Nelson and James Fortune joined us on It's Not Over, the lead single. And then my good friend Michael Gunger, who I wrote Friend of God with and a few other songs with, also does a guest appearance on this. And T-Bone, as I mentioned before, and even Aaron Lindsay, who I've collaborated with, all this time, also sing on a couple songs on this record as well. So we had a good time.
Okay, wonderful. Tell us a little about the single, It's Not Over.
It's Not Over was really inspired by some other songs we had written, like Moving Forward. And when we got responses from people just saying, that's my song, that song gets me through, we started paying attention. Okay, well, why is this song connecting the way it is?
Right.
And I think when people have a hope that it's not over, all things are made new, there's no limits in God, it inspired us to write another one and kind of continue that dialogue with people. And so far, we feel really pleased at what people are saying about it.
Wow. Tell us about the live recording of this particular song with James Fortune and Jason Nelson.
Well, the night we did it live, actually, because what we did with James and Jason is a studio version of that. The night we did it live, I sang most of it, and Aaron Lindsay joined in on a bit of that as well. And it's different. I think, when people hopefully get out and get the CD, they'll hear the similarities between the two, but they'll also hear just some of the ministry that's happening within the song as well. It's a little bit longer, obviously, than the radio edit that we did with them, but it was one of those songs that just really, really took over that night. It just ministered to people, and it continues to as we travel.
Wow. Before we get into actually hearing the song, I want to know, in your own personal life, can you tell our listeners about how God has made provisions for you?
Well, He's been faithful every single day. And I think there is something to be said for when you travel internationally and you get around places of real poverty, real abject poverty. I'm not talking to us having some bad weeks and the rent, being late. I'm talking about $1 a day if they're lucky,
Wow.
And to see them worship, it's really this phrase: you don't realize Jesus is all you need until He's all that you have.
Wow.
And here we have a lot of options and distractions, and I'll go to church next Sunday, and it'll be fine, and it's not so much about having to go to church. It's when I get there, it's like they desire to be in the presence of God. And when I've seen, just when I come back home and look at my own life, and I go, God, I want to live with that kind of desperation.
Wow.
I want to be that in love and that in tune with the cause of Christ in my life. And I've seen God, certainly perspective and perception is a powerful thing, because you can have down days and you can have rough seasons, and then God will put you in front of some people who can completely redefine rough for you.
Wow.
At which point you realize God has always been faithful. He's always been providing. He's always been El Shaddai. He's always been more than enough. And sometimes you need a bit of a perception or a kick in the butt to understand that.
That's good. Now, you guys are getting ready to go on a big tour. Tell us about the tour that you're getting ready to do this fall.
Yeah, we're excited to embark on this Kingsman Tour with Kirk Franklin, Donnie McClurkin, Marvin Sapp, and myself. And doing about 16 cities. We start September 16th. And, really, really excited about hopefully you're doing something historic. And so I encourage people, if you're remotely in the area of one of the cities we're coming to, it's going to be worth the ticket, and it's going to be worth the trip to get there.
So how can we find out about the tour dates and locations?
People can go to Ticketmaster.com, Kingsman Tour, or they can go to LiveNation.com, or any one of the artists' websites will have all the information as well.
Okay. And is the album available now, Jesus at the Center?
It is. So we're excited about it. Jesus at the Center.
Okay, so we're getting ready to listen to It's Not Over, but before we do that, don't forget to let us know what you think about the latest single. Hit us up on our shout box. Leave your comments there. Join me on Facebook and Twitter.com/Roz on the radio. And you can always just show your support by getting the CD and getting the single. Israel, let everybody know how they can stay connected to you and New Breed. We already talked about the tour, but all things Israel Houghton.
Israel, it's actually newbreedmusic.com. Newbreedmusic.com has all of our links there to Facebook and Twitter, etc. People can follow me on Twitter at Israel Houghton.
Okay, wonderful. Now we're gonna take you guys out with Israel Houghton and New Breed featuring James Fortune and Jason Nelson with It's Not Over. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, we want to speak life over you today. Every person listening, we want you to understand that no matter where you've been or where you might currently find yourself, it's not over. When God is in it, there is no limit. New Breed.
It's not over. It's not finished.